Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, on TikTok at Movies TV Mad XXX, and on Instagram at Movies TV Mad 555. And welcome to Tuesday's world exclusive of the Movies TV Mad Daily. I have found out by multiple sources David Zaslav's and Warner Discovery's future plans for DC live action content. One of those plans is DC Studios. That is one of those plans, and they're making lots of decisions as we speak, preparing for next summer when they officially take over the company and they officially become Warner Discovery. So one of the things that was fed to me is that they just do not understand why we don't have a DC Studios, why a DC Studios wasn't even implemented from Batman Begins, and then they don't understand why a DC Studios wasn't implemented when they did Green Lantern or even Man of Steel. So one of the things they want to do immediately is a DC Studios. They are not happy about the state of the DCEU, the DC live action universe. In terms of the multiverse strategy and what the plan is with The Flash and beyond, it's a wait and see scenario. I wouldn't say they're not convinced, I would say that they're going to wait and see how it plays to the public. They are concerned with the Suicide Squad theatrical box office. They are concerned with what happened with Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn, and they thought that Wonder Woman 84 should never have been released, and of course they feel that Justice League was an embarrassing situation, and they were unhappy with the Snyder scenario, saying, like I've said all along, that you want to start, you know, a DC extended universe for the broader audience. Why would you bring Christopher Nolan in? And then when Christopher Nolan doesn't want to mold the clay, why do you allow him to bring Zack Snyder in? These are the things that have been fed to me. So David Zaslav of Discovery, who's a very successful CEO, let's not forget what Discovery was. Discovery was that 25 years ago. I remember it when Sky first started. It was one channel. Now it's one of the biggest broadcasting entities in the world. So Zaslav and Discovery know exactly how to be successful. So the first thing they're going to look to do is a DC Studios. So that they will look to bring in a good, experienced producer that's not only a good producer, but knows these DC characters and these DC universes. They really want to look at the bigger characters first. Zaslav already pointing out, of course, publicly about Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. They want the big hitters to hit the big screens again, and they want those three characters to be front and center. And so they are going to look at the plans right now. They will remove many people at Warner Brothers Pictures right now as well. They are looking to bring in their own people, which was pretty obvious, but there are going to be big changes, and the thing they are looking at mostly at this moment is DC, but also looking at the other IPs they own like Harry Potter, but also looking at Warner Brothers Pictures as a whole. Their movies not doing as well as they should be, even within the COVID pandemic. So they want to create an entertainment house that does it all. They want to focus on their streaming service, HBO Max, and as I guessed, they do want to change the name to HBO Max, and they want to look at doing something with Warner Brothers in the name, because nobody really knows, the normies and the broader audience don't know that HBO Max is in fact a Warner Brothers streaming service, and that's part of the problems that HBO Max has had. But HBO Max is a solidly successful streaming service. It hasn't hit globally yet, so you can't really judge it too much. It probably did start a year too soon. So they have all these focuses, but their main priority is DC and implementing a DC Studios. Walter Hamada will not be the chairman or the ruler or the boss of a DC Studios. As I said, They are looking to bring in someone with experience, but someone who understands DC and its characters and its universes, and that's very, very important to them. They're already looking at a shortlist who can run DC Studios, so that's very, very interesting as well. So we are looking at a root and branch change of the way DC live action is run. They will be looking at DC Comics as well, and so that's kind of a fascinating situation. But they really want DC to make top dollar. They want the broader audience to enjoy it, and they are, and this is what I've heard, they are thinking about just ending the DCEU. Yep, they are thinking of ending the DCEU. As I said, they're undecided right now, but they're thinking about it because they believe it's got a bad reputation. People don't respect the DCEU. Again, we're talking about the broader audience, so they are thinking of just starting from scratch. Now, in a way, Flashpoint is doing that anyway, but it's still within the confines of the DCEU. It's the same universe, they're just rebooting it. Nothing will be forgotten, everything will be remembered. Everything will still be canon. Now, who knows what Justice League movie is going to be canon? And that's part of the clusterfuck that we have going on here. And so Zaslav and Discovery are looking to maybe just starting again, starting from scratch and doing a cohesive universe. And that's something else. So as of now, because Zaslav and Discovery can't do anything officially right now until they're officially the owners of Warner Brothers, Warner Media should I say, and then when it becomes Warner Discovery, these big decisions will come into place. And I'd love to know your comments down below. Would you be willing for the DCEU just to end? No more DCEU, to start a brand new DC shared universe from scratch, which is indeed what I would have done as soon as Justice League happened. But if I was in charge, Justice League would never have happened. Probably if I was in charge, Zack Snyder would never have been doing his films. And when Christopher Nolan told me he wasn't interested in moulding the clay of a DC extended universe, I would have said, bye-bye, I'll bring in a producer and someone who understands these characters and loves these characters to do something awesome. As much as I love Snyder's work, we've seen the issues. Look where we are now. These are the decisions that were made from the very top, from the very beginning, from the old leadership of WB. And so, just to reiterate this, that there are big plans for a DC Studios. They are looking to bring in somebody new, maybe from outside of the company, to run DC Studios and to have a kind of a universe. They are not necessarily looking to copy and paste the MCU, but they are looking for a universe that can really, enact crossovers and, Easter eggs and basically a shared continuous universe. This would mean potentially starting again with a new cast, but of course it depends. As I say, they're undecided whether what the plans that are going on within the DC extended live action universe right now are fit for purpose, and they are willing to wait to see what Flash does and next year's movies do. I would say to you, if the Batman, if Black Adam, if Flashpoint and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom don't do the money and don't garner the excitement and don't get the reactions from the media that they want, I would think it's a foregone conclusion there will be no more DCEU, no more DC Extended Universe, and they'll start from scratch with new casts, new stories, and they'll look to go with Wonder Woman, Superman and Batman immediately in their own versions. Of course, that would take time. That means no Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman. All the plans would be gone. All the plans would be dead. As you can see, we basically know about 2 films for 2023. That's Fury of the Gods and Ta-Nehisi Coates Superman movie. Nothing else has been announced. Now, it's going to be very interesting what they announce at DC Fandom, because will there be more movies, DC movies, announced cinematically for DC Fandom? We're going to have to wait and see. But Discovery coming in was always the unknown quantity we didn't know about. And now with the information that's reached me, I'm fascinated. Of course, we have to take this information with a pinch of salt. We have to take information from sources with a pinch of salt. all the time. I believe the information. I believe DC Studios is coming. And I think we've all spoken about DC Studios for a long time, and that's the right way to go. But listen, there's no point creating a DC Studios and putting some idiot in charge who doesn't know what they're doing. To have a DC Studios, you need the right people in charge. Now, who is that going to be? As I've said before, I think Bruce Timm would be perfect to head DC Studios. I don't know if they'll go down that direction. Bruce Timm should have headed the DCEU from the very beginning, not Christopher Nolan and not a filmmaker like Zack Snyder. Even if you bring him in, he shouldn't have been running the whole caboodle. Bruce Timm is a producer. He's a DC fan. He's worked within the community of DC Comics. He understands the DNA of these DC characters and these DC worlds. And he would have been perfect. From the very beginning, they were working off the seat of their pants. Yeah, we're doing Man of Steel. We're hoping to launch a brand new franchise. And there's some Bruce Wayne. There's a Wayne Enterprises satellite Easter eggs. And you can tell, you can see the Luthor truck and all that, which is great. And we've seen what's happened. I love the films. You know, I'm a DCEU stan. And of course I will be a little bit kind of sad if they do bring it down and end it. But let's be honest, in a way, didn't the DCEU truly end when we got Justice League? Wasn't it over then? Because what we've had since then is a mismatch. And James Gunn's The Suicide Squad is a perfectly palatable movie. I like it. I don't think it's the best film ever. I don't think it's the best superhero film or comic book film I've ever seen. But it's very, very good. It's highly entertaining, and of course it works. And the audience is at home, and the audience is globally, by the way, internationally. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad is doing really well. But the audiences in the UK and across Europe have halved because of COVID. Otherwise, it would have done a lot more money. But the returns for The Suicide Squad internationally are very, very healthy. More healthy than they are in the US, because everyone's staying at home watching The Suicide Squad on HBO Max. So we've heard a lot of things like James Gunn will be welcome back to the DCEU, yada, yada, yada. You've got to understand, a new broom sweeps clean. So they are coming in to sweep the broom clean. You know, David Zaslav and Discovery didn't decide to buy one of the biggest studios in the history of the entertainment industry just to let it carry on as it is. There's no question. People at Warner Brothers Pictures should be worried about their jobs right now. All of them. You know, they could come in and gut the place. I don't know if they will, but they absolutely could come in and gut this studio. Because the truth of the matter is, Warner Brothers hasn't been efficient enough for many, many years. It's made too many mistakes. This is not the studio who distributed Superman the movie. This is not the studio who distributed the Lethal Weapons franchise, you know, or the Mad Max franchise, or all those great movies we grew up with from Warner Brothers. This is a very, very different studio, and what really unbalanced it was Iger coming in at Disney and pretty much making Disney a proper studio. Disney wasn't a proper studio before Iger. Disney was just a studio that made great animated fairy tale stories. That's all it was and Iger changed the face of that company. And there's no going back now, or maybe there is with Chapek there, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Right now, they're still making the right decisions. A lot of the films that are being successful with Disney are from Iger's time, by the way, right now. So we're going to have to wait and see. It could be the end of the empire, but what Iger did over at Disney was destroy everyone else. So Warner Brothers are desperate for this brand new leadership. And it's the same things I said when AT&T came in. The problem with AT&T, they didn't come from the entertainment industry. They don't understand the entertainment industry. And one thing the entertainment industry like to deal with is themselves. They do not like outsiders. When they decided to do day and date AT&T, we heard this from people like Christopher Nolan and other people within the industry. They're outsiders. They don't understand how this industry works. Oh, I think we know how this industry works, right? Yeah, young girls going to Hollywood to make their dreams fucking come true and leaving Hollywood in a fucking body bag. You're all a bunch of criminals, right? But, you know, I'm here. I'm no longer in Hollywood. And I can't save Hollywood. I can't save those poor young women who go there. The drug addiction, the prostitution, the things that go on in that corrupt little town. And regrettably, knowing all of this, I'm still going to do these videos and get excited about Hollywood, what Hollywood produces. It's like wearing the stuff made from Primark. I'm still going to wear it, even though I know kind of the slave labour that goes into making it. It's not right. It's wrong for me to do that. It's wrong for us to kind of, you know, consume these things when we know the cruelty that goes in to those trades. But unfortunately, that is capitalism and the way of the world. So what Hollywood will like with this merger is they're getting one of their own to run this company. And when this merger happens, you're going to hear a lot from Hollywood saying, thank God AT&T had gone. I mean, they're shareholders, but they will have nothing to do with the day-to-day running. Zaslav will be the CEO. So we know that Zaslav is a very successful businessman in the entertainment industry, and he's going to sweep this company clean. So expect the DC studios, and the decision eventually will be reached whether the DCEU is fit for purpose. Now, we've heard about reboots for years, but listen guys, it's as simple as, look, it's this simple. This needs to happen. Now, I'm not necessarily sure the DCEU needs to be ended. And as I say, these are business people. They're going to wait to see what next year's films do. So I think this is a 2023 decision. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see the Batman. We're going to see Black Adam. We're going to see Flashpoint. And we're going to see Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Those films have to work. The plans on HBO Max have to work. Because if they don't, it's the end of those plans. It's the end of those executives like Toby Emmerich and Ann Sarnoff and Walter Hamada. They're under the gun right now. The Damocles is over their heads. Their plans have to work or they are done for, my friends. We've seen the trailer from Spider-Man No Way Home. We see the success of the MCU. You know, we haven't seen a film like Spider-Man No Way Home for a long time. A film that's not about identity politics or anything else, but just entertaining the audience. It brings everyone together. And these are the kind of movies we want to see from a DC extended universe. We don't want to divide the public. We don't want to divide the audience. We want to entertain the audience. And you know, the DCEU has got such a bad reputation because of these things. And with the comic book movies, you can't have auteurs. Auteurs don't work. Auteurs used to work in the old days when every superhero movie was a one-off. But that's not where we are now. We're about franchises, and franchises are not run by auteurs. It simply doesn't work. It's simply a failed experiment. And current Warner Brothers know it, current Warner Media know it, AT&T know it, and David Zaslav knows it as well. So, we will see what happens with the multiverse strategy. But if it doesn't work, I can assure you there will be no DCEU. There will be no chance of Snyder to return. It will be, they'll start again. They'll turn off the computer and put it back on again. And it will be properly rebooted with new producers, new directors, new writers, a company in DC Studios that's run in an efficient way. And Zaslav will make sure of this. You know, Zaslav is a very efficient business person. So that's what I'm hearing. And I think at least one thing we can agree on. DC Studios is the right way to go. I trust this information a great deal. I think that looking at it, we need to restructure this franchise. I understand the multiverse strategy and the reasons for doing the multiverse strategy, but it is a gamble, there's no question about that. With everyone involved behind the scenes of this multiverse strategy, there's not many people who really understand DC and these DC characters and universes, but we can only hope. Personally, I hope that these 4 movies coming next year and the HBO Max DC content works. I want it to work. I don't want to see the end of the DCEU. We're here now, but it's interesting what they'll do. I think people will be shocked by Flashpoint. I think things will change, actors will change, people playing these characters could change. I think there's going to be things happening when Barry Allen reboots the multiverse, which means Barry Allen may not even be played by the same actor anymore. Yes, the changes are going to be that huge. And I'm not saying definitely, I'm saying I have a theory that Batman and Superman and all these characters will be different. Maybe Momoa and Gadot will remain. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But it's very, very exciting because DC and the DC Extended Universe have been under, uncertain times since the beginning of the DCEU. But now, with a new CEO, a new company, Warner Discovery, they will want to make top dollar. And that's understandable. We keep on questioning the executives at Warner Brothers and why they interfered with Snyder's vision. It's because they want to make top dollar. They're a business. That's what it's all about. You can keep on giving me the thumbs down when I do these videos, but these are the facts. And these are the facts that I'm going to reiterate to you before we finish this conversation. If the 4 movies that are released next year cinematically don't work, there will be no more DCEU. And Zaslav and Discovery will start again. And it's as simple as that. Right, superfan Scott Edwards has been watching Smallville Season 8. And he's been enjoying it. And he's heard some stuff about Smallville Season 9. And he wants me to talk about Smallville Season 9 briefly. And just to let him know what kind of a season it is. Scott believes that Smallville Season 8 is one of the best seasons. I wouldn't go that far. It has great elements to it and I enjoyed it. He's enjoying the Doomsday storyline. I think the Davies Bloom element of it, Scott, is fantastic. I really enjoy that human Bruce Banner, Dr. Jekyll situation. I love the fact that he finds out that literally General Zod cloned him because him and his wife, Faora, couldn't have a child. And he begs, well, you're going to find, I won't give it away because you're going to find a lot more stuff about how Davis was conceived in Season 9. But yeah, I do like the Doomsday. I think it was a very ambitious thing. The problem is when you see Doomsday, you can tell it's someone in a suit rather than CGI because they couldn't afford the CGI. Now, sometimes it looks great, sometimes it doesn't look so great. I think it works. I think it's a great storyline. I think Sam Witwer as Davis Bloom, as we all know, he does a lot of voice work on Star Wars animation and Star Wars gaming. He's a great geek. I think he did a great job with the character. I really do. And as I say, Season 9 will see General Zod arrive, Scott. And this will be played by Callum Bloom. So that's the story. And basically, they don't, Clark and Zod don't meet at first. But eventually, they do. And there's a very iconic line. Because basically we meet a clone version, a live action version of Jor-El. And Zod kills him. I think it's Zod that kills him, or it could be Tess, I can't remember. Anyway, so Clark hunts Zod down. So Clark turns up in his black Neo coat and his Superman t-shirt, and then General Zod says these words, kneel before Kal-El. So at first, Zod and Kal-El are working together, or should I say Clark. Obviously, Clark's kind of doing some undercover work, he's not really on his side. But it's very, very interesting, and ultimately it's all about the Book of Rao, which is the Kryptonian version of the Bible. And that's something that can take Kryptonians to a higher plane of existence. So, it's a great season, Scott, and you're really going to enjoy it, and that's what I would say about that. This has been the Movies TV Mad Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Just remember, everyone, the MCU, warts and all, is doing well. It's making the money. I expect Shang-Chi has had great reviews. They all are getting great reviews. This is the MCU. Now, I don't want a DC Extended Universe that shadows the MCU, but I do want one where everyone comes and watches it and enjoys it, where children can go with their parents, but sometimes we may get darker tales. They've earned the right to do Spider-Man No Way Home, and let's be clear about that movie. That's because of what Sony did and what Sam Raimi did those many years ago, and of course what Mark Webb did with The Amazing Spider-Man. That's why you're excited, not because of the MCU Spider-Man, but the MCU it's the biggest franchise right now and probably the most profitable franchise in the history of Hollywood. And Zaslav and Discovery are here to make money. So if the current plan doesn't work, it's goodbye DCEU, and if it doesn't work, I absolutely back David Zaslav and Discovery to do their thing. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, smash that notification bell so you never miss this perfection, and I'll see you again in the next video. Until then, goodbye.